for them to die. And that's pretty much, that's one of the many game plans that TowerDive actually has available to them. If they can make it to the team fight phase and if they're still healthy, because you never know, those tower dives, they could go wrong, but we will see. Game is now up. Lots of pings going down, actually on mirror sides of the river. We may see, we actually may see a point defense here from TowerDive just to make sure that they are not invaded. Jarvan going down, Lana, Cogbon, Nunu, and Kale going top. Actually, both teams. Actually, I don't think either are actually looking for the invade. They just want to have all of their entrances covered.
Yeah, they're just getting some early vision, so they're going to be fine there. Jarvan actually drops his standard, and they do have it warded. So FXO does see, Jarvan is kind of near the bottom side. It doesn't seem like they're going for invade, so both teams know that they are fairly safe here. It is interesting to see some of the new items that we're seeing, take place in lanes. Aurelia going with a Fortitude, and so she doesn't have to pop it right away. But if she sees a killing opportunity, or maybe is ganked or something like that, that could definitely help her out in that situation. And it'd be cool to see if they actually maybe go for a lane swap and just try and get Cog an early advantage and just shut down Shen. Usually Shen's going to be okay in the 1v2, but they do have some options here. And one of the things that's nice if they do go for a lane swap is Jarvan's really strong at that level 3 gank when you have the 1v2 lane. So that is kind of a possibility. Yeah.
And Jarvan's also going to have a significantly easier time if he decides to go gank top. It's going to be a difficult gank because Shen's always difficult to gank. But when you have the standard and you can just pull yourself right into that top rush undetected, that's something we've seen SGS do quite a bit. And it's real common. I know Vi can actually do the same thing too. Just charge the punches, go straight into the brush.
Yeah, you see that sometimes in the bot lane in particular. Some in the top as well. But Kale actually going top. So Phantom Lord is going top, and they're sending Aurelia mid. So kind of a tricky play there. You see Tarek is top at the in the meantime. Phantom Lord actually didn't see him get into this push, so they're waiting for that quick gank as Jarvan's grabbing the red. Nocturne's grabbing the red as well, so they're going to have 3 people up top with a level 2 Nocturne potentially engaging on this Phantom Lord.
This is odd, to say the least.
Well, they have Cog and Nunu mid as well, so...
Yeah, this is a very strange game already, the 2-minute mark. That is a flash bait out following the dazzle. That is 3 members piling down the paint on the Phantom Lord, and the Ignite will take it. First blood going to Nocturne over on FXO. Tarek, he decided to go top lane. He got that stun, got the kill. Time definitely well spent.
Yeah, real quick cheese with Tarek, and that's just really difficult to get away from.
It is.
So they go down very quickly. The AD and support mid is, something we haven't seen a lot of in the AD scene, but Garena, it's been very popular there, and some of the Asian countries we've seen, some play with that, and that's really going to allow Atlanta to farm very effectively, as well as kind of throw down Salse a little bit. Salse should be able to farm pretty effectively once he gets some mana, but right now, when he's doesn't have that large mana pool for spamming his spells to clear minions, he's actually going to fall a little bit behind what you would normally expect on Ryze, and that's going to be huge. To slow down Ryze's mid game could really help out Team TowerDive.
And JRT is actually just fine on his own bot lane. He does have his escapes. He can shift away from Aurelia if she gets too crazy. But remember, though, anytime you lane up against an Aurelia, the moment they hit 6 and level 9, just to sustain the life steal, getting all that health back, it can be a bit too much to handle. So if Tarek, Tarek can spend his time, he can take his time down here in mid, and wow, a lot of damage actually coming from Angel. Goes in and gets a kill on Aurelia. Aurelia burned both the flash and ignite. Atlanta forcing out the cleanse from after the stun from Tarek. And we'll be safe for now, but that is a cleanse down in mid. And Aurelia was down bot, burned everything, and still just could not get away from Ez.
Yeah, it's a really tough engage. Nocturne actually walking through. He should be okay there, but he does kind of just pass through. So
that was risky.
Ezreal's off to a really good start here. And they definitely don't want Ezreal snowballing because he can snowball the game fairly easily.
Right.
So I think Aurelia should be okay, though. She has cloth armor. She should be able to play pretty defensively here. She did all in with that red Fortitude elixir, so she was kind of thinking that she'd be able to chase down Ezreal, but that's really difficult when you consider Arcane Shift and Flash. And now Navitar, he's pressuring mid because he knows they don't want Ryze to slow down. And even if Ryze keeps up his farm, he's already going to be slowed because the reason you have your AP carries mid is so you get the level advantage. You want the level advantage that mid has, and having Tarek have to sit there and babysit him means that Ryze is actually going to be lower level than you would otherwise expect your mid laner to be.
Right, but having Tarek, though, it does set up for those potential 3-man ganks like we had top lane. So like Tarek is like, oh, Tarek's in a lane. we might be ganked sometime soon. He's the support of ill omen, almost. But as you see, though, Navtar's top lane sees no opportunities and will recall. He already has the Razor. He can probably get some boots for himself on that next back, so he can be a little bit more mobile. But once Nocturne hits 6, those ganks get even more powerful.
Yeah, but regardless, he's coming up once again for Kale, and a lot of pressure going down on Phantom Lord already. He should be able to get out of this, but he's still taking some damage. He's low on mana, so he's not going to be able to use his ranged ability anymore.
Jarvan's not too far away. Ward in the brush will spot him out, so Shen needs to be careful. But he's going to ignore the warnings for now, still try and get another creep or two. He's got the vision of Jarvan. Jarvan's backing off, so now he knows it's still safe to push in the top lane. Meanwhile, mid, Tarek still hanging around, wants to protect Salse for as long as he possibly can, but Jarvan has repositioned himself up in the top lane. He could have had an opportunity to actually go in over the forest wall, but decides he should probably go back to the mid.
Yeah, so Jarvan definitely trying to follow Nocturne. He's not quite sure where he is now. He does spot him, but he was setting himself up in positions where if Nocturne did look for a gank, Jarvan would be able to counter gank very effectively. That's what that tri-bush position primarily is for the top. But he's not really able to find anything. It is interesting, though, with that level 1 gank, that's really put Westrice into a great situation. Shen was always one of his strongest champions. Yeah, that was kind of the issue with Westrice. He'd be strong on a couple of champions, but didn't have the largest pool. But he already has a nice lead over Kale, and Shen, if he gets a quick Warmogs and gets some quick HP, Kale actually won't have enough damage to deal with him.
Yep, and you see the regeneration beat a lot now on those top lane champs, because you know it's going to be Warmogs first, and they can just sit there, harass all day, and it's not going to do a whole hell of a lot. So Ezreal still doing it out with Aurelion bot lane. It's starting, well, Ezreal has quite a significant lead on Aurelia, up nearly 20 creeps plus the kill to another 20, and he's just imposing his will, but killing as much time as he can, because he knows Aurelia's going to hit 6 momentarily. Will have the wave clear, will not be pushed back to tower as often as he has been this entire time. But Jarvan off on the side. Nocturne spotted over in the river too. The dragon was warded, so they know he's nearby. He is only level 5. He does not have his ultimate just yet. But JRT still getting free harass onto Aurelia before. Now you hit 6, but now half health though.
Yeah, so Aurelia, the sustain will be huge. Rise almost going down there. Is forced to use the flash. And Atlanta, if he was level 6, that definitely would have been a kill. But just barely not able to grab him there. So, but you see, Kog and Nunu, they're in complete control of that mid lane. Kog is farming very effectively, and that's really going to help them as the game progresses a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. One of the cool things with having the AD and support mid, not only is it going to be a nice lane where you can farm and you know, you see Kog farming a little bit better than Rise, but Rise has actually had a really easy time so far. But it also means that maybe you can start putting more jungle pressure on, because your support's there. They do have to deal with the fact that Tarek's sitting mid, so it's not going to give them the advantage they were hoping for. But Nocturne could maybe start going for some invades, you know, as they know some of these timers are hitting. They've already missed out on the blue, but red is up, and you know, maybe they could hit the next blue.
Yep. So now I'm wondering where the blue for Tower Dive is actually going to be going towards. It could be going to Kale or Kog'Maw. They have an option. But Kog'Maw is now 6, and he does have mana issues if he spams it out. I mean, I would imagine it would go to him.
No, it's actually, I would think, going to go to Kale. It depends on how aggressive they're looking to be. Late game, 100% that blue is going to Kog'Maw, and your AD carry a lot of times late game. But early on, Kale needs the mana for spammability. Kog can use the mana. If they're trying to force fights, that means, you know, that's the indication that it's going to Kog. If it goes to Kog, it means that they're going to be looking to force some fights, and Kog needs to be spamming lots of abilities. If it's just going to be a long laning phase, which is probably what they're looking for here, to, just to farm the carries, then that means that Kale could really use the benefit.
And blue pops back up for FXO, so that's going to be transferred. Well, they can go to Rise as soon as they get the opportunity to give it to him. Dragon is also...
Atlanta is a little low on mana, so you know, they could potentially give it to him just to give him a refresh, but it seems like it's going to Kale.
Yeah, there you go. Phantom Ward's getting in position. Jarvan tanking the buff like a good jungle should, and there you go. We'll be going to Kale, spamming up some more fire up in the top lane.
Yeah, and so again, that really indicates that they're looking for a long laning phase to give Kale that. You know, Kale could be aggressive with it, but it probably means they're just trying to get Kog farmed sitting mid, and then allow allow Kale to try and control top, because it's going to take every last bit of mana that Phantom Lord has in order to deal any damage against West Rice.
Yeah,
you see,
look at that. There's nothing.
He can hardly touch him. Phantom Lord went down to half from that exchange while barely scratching West Rice. That's really dangerous for them.
Right, and West Rice, in addition, he's got his shield too, which will be able to soak up even more damage. He is maxing the Verbal Blade out first, but he's actually very close to getting the Sunfire. There is Nocturne going into the rush. We'll find a Jarvan, but Shen ult, he will be here soon. That is West Rice now joining the battle here in the mid in a 4v3. Atlanta gets taunted, but Cleanse is back up, decides to use it. Nunu prisoned underneath turret is still ignited, but oh, nice ultimate from Jarvan. Keeps Rise behind, and Nunu still manages to live. Phantom Ward flashing here in mid, but shield from Nocturne very well timed.
Wow, that was a gutsy ult from Jarvan. Just diving onto Rise there. I'm actually surprised that TowerDiveTV was able to turn that around, because that fight looked like it was going to be in FXO's favor the entire time. But despite that fight working out, they're still falling behind on gold, because they're not going to be able to push this tower. They're too low right now. And Ezreal has free reign over bottom, and that's going to be really dangerous for them.
JRT can grab the tier 2 here. There's a forced flash out from Nocturne. He's also still ignited. TowerDiveTV doing their name, doing what they claim they're best at, and that's what they needed.
They have to get out of the way of Rise, though.
This could be bad, though. Salse looking for his moment. He could get Nunu.
He stunned Matabear.
Oh.
Tarek just, I mean, he easily could have just stunned Nunu there, and Rise would have just walked up. A single Q would have killed Nunu, and yet he didn't.
JRT coming up, though.
Kind of surprising.
Oh, JRT, if he only knew that Aurelia was so close by, he probably could have gotten something. But he will be back here in the mid, looking to push back. Fortunately enough, FXO did not lose their tier 1 on that exchange, so if there's any time to push back, this is the time when everyone's back at base healing. Q from Kale will be shielded once again by the Nocturne. He's on point with those today. Good job on him.
Yeah, really nice play all around. But the scary thing right now for Team Tower Dive is going to be how to deal with Rise. And they actually did pretty effective. They were pretty effective in that last fight. So Rise, the issue is if you clump together with kind of an AoE, or in a nice little AoE, then Rise does a ton of AoE damage. And if you spread off, then he's just going to pick off the outermost guy and just single target focus him down. So it's kind of a lose-lose situation. But they were able to kite pretty effectively, continue pulling Rise into their team until they're able to turn around and burst him down. And it worked out very effectively. It was like a 2K deficit. Now it's only 1K. Mid turret's almost down for them if they decide to push this. So they actually have set themselves up nicely. But at the same time, Ezreal's really strong right now, and we haven't seen the might of Ezreal yet. No. He does have that Bloodthirster first, so he's kind of won the timing war with Kog'Maw. So we'll kind of see what happens when he first starts wielding his might.
Yep. Salse will have to burn ult every time he wants to clear. Otherwise, Atlanta will just waltz on in and take out that tower. Maybe even onto the next push, but it looks like they're going to be recalling here to buy a few nice things for themselves. What is Common Gang? BF Sword working towards that Bloodthirster first. Get some of that huge damage. Nocturne walking on down, checking out the dragon. He's still present. He's still there.
He could just force it. The issue is they don't know where anyone is for TowerDiveTV, and if they did, then they would probably go for it because he has enough damage. He's tanky enough that it won't be that much of an issue. Matabear a little caught out there, but will be able to back off effectively. So nice positioning. He knows exactly how much spacing he needs from Rise. But we'll see if they actually start doing a fight. There is a pink ward, so Daydreamin has the vision advantage.
Good call. The pink wards, they're a pretty damn good purchase nearly any time of the year, this being one of them. And Daydreamin will be helping out JRT, trying to man the dragon. Here comes Nocturne. He'll be helping out.
And Shen's ult is up, so they're going to have the 4v5 advantage here. That really, TowerDiveTV shouldn't engage this. They don't really have a good opportunity here.
Jarvan is curious, though. He wants to see what's going on. Meanwhile, Salse tries to defend the mid tier 1, but it's unsuccessful. Ezreal picks up the dragon. Jarvan will be feared. Is it a good fear? It is a great fear. Ignite onto Jarvan. Will he live? It looks like it, but just barely.
Ezreal has him, though.
Under 100. Nocturne with the ultimate and swipe takes out the Jarvan. The Q going long range downtown, cannot kill the Cog, but here comes Shen. We'll be here in a second. Phantom Ward out of position, off on the side. Salse will be safe running away. Navatar getting very low, and Phantom Ward grabs that kill. Nunu using the ultimate, keeping everyone slow. Daydreamin takes a huge chunk of damage, but all of TowerDiveTV is very low. Nunu the only healthy one, and FXO comes out on top.
Again, though, it's actually pretty impressive that TowerDiveTV was able to back off and not lose any more members. So they were able to kite pretty effectively, cycle out their guys. And after the initial stun from Tarek and Snare, there wasn't really much follow-up. from FXO. That being said, FXO did win that exchange very definitively. Grabbing the Dragon, they did lose their mid turret, but they were able to force back TowerDiveTV. They just weren't able to land a punching blow. So we'll kind of see whether or not TowerDiveTV can start to force themselves back a little bit. Kog'Maw didn't have the BF sword in that last fight. He has bought it now, so that's a huge increase in damage on their end. So that can maybe help out a little bit. And as they start finishing in some of their items, that's definitely going to be huge, because right now they're having to deal with the issue that the base damage is just really high for FXO. So they need some items to counteract that. But they might face an issue coming up shortly that Shen and Nocturne just become too tanky.
That is an issue. You see the Giants belts. You see the chain vest. That's 2 Sunfire capes immediately. First few items. West Rice taking some harass from the Kale, but one more Q will finish the job. Now Avatar a little bit too late to the party. Fears the Kale, but is afraid himself and backs off.
Yeah, and right now, if you look at the items for TowerDiveTV, you can tell.
Look at Tarek being chased down by Atlanta. It's like, I want to get to top lane. I need to help my Nocturne. He has no legs. He cannot help himself. And Kog'Maw following him the entire way, taking free shots, brings him down to below half.
And so as I was going to say, if you look at the items right now for TowerDive, you can tell they're more laning items. They're not looking for those large team fights. Just because, Aurelia not rushing some quick HP. She has the Dorans. She has a Vamp Scepter as well. Those are definitely, just pure laning items. Whereas Jarvan finishing the full Rickles. So just, once that complete jungling speed, and he's going to try and take advantage of that. Salsa trying to see if he can make his way down bot, isn't quite able to make anything happen. But you see TowerDiveTV making their way up top and are able to take down the turret there.
Yep. Aurelia still holding the fort down bot. Ezreal has such a significant farm advantage down this lane, dude. He's plus 50 over on Aurelia right now. That is absolutely insane.
Yeah, I mean, Ezreal's just in a great situation. The key isn't what he's doing over Aurelia, because that's to be expected. It's what he's doing over Kog'Maw, though. And you do see there is a 20 CS advantage over Kog'Maw. And really, Ezreal needs that advantage. Otherwise, he's just not going to be very effective in team fights. But look at what he's building. Chain Vest. So if you're going to talk about laning items, he already had the Bloodthirster, but going straight for some defensive items so that he can, beat Aurelia in that 1v1, kind of signifies that he expects that long exchange to happen.
West Rice tries to finish off the Kale, but the ultimate will keep her safe. And this is what we were talking about in Champ Select. Now we're getting to that worry point where we're wondering if FXO will actually have enough damage to take out TowerDive once we start hitting into the mid game and the late game.
Yes. And that was definitely a concern for them. It's not right now, because you look at TowerDive's items, they're not rushing quick defensive items. So it's not going to be an issue in full 5v5s. Where it is an issue, though, is these small team fights, because FXO has the great protection that Kale provides, but you see Nocturne coming in some quick damage on the Phantom Lord and is able to proc that fear. He goes down, and now they're going to back off and try and re-engage.
Phantom Lord caught underneath the turret following that Tarek stun, the worst place you could possibly be. Ezreal ult gets some vision on the Nunu, but this is a chase, a 4v2 in the top lane, full 5v2. Aurelia will be here soon. Jarvan will be here soon. Matter of will FXO go for the push on this turret? Shen out in front, just waiting for the minion support, but once they get here, it will be a 4v5.
Yes, it's going to be pretty difficult for them to defend this, because they don't have very good wave clear. In order to defend this, they would need to force a hard engage. So you see FXO get some really quick damage, and Ezreal is able to back off. So the next minion wave, FXO should actually be able to take this turret.
Phantom Lord is back up. It is a race to get back to top lane to try and save this turret. And FXO, they're making the safe play. They're backing off for now. The ward in the Tri-Brush will spot them, but Salsa is split from the group.
Yeah, so they make the decision that they recognize what the timer was on Kale. They knew Kale had respawned and had enough time where if they had forced a fight there at that next turret, very likely Kale would have been there. So they do back off in that instance. So just really safe play on their part. They have 1.5K gold advantage, so they're in a decent position right here. Salsa going to go for the blue steal. He's going to get it last second.
Can he do it? Was waiting for it.
No. He didn't lead with the Q. So he leading with his non-damaging abilities, or minor damaging
he wants to make sure that Wraith can't go anywhere.
He forced the smite at the very least.
Yeah.
No, actually he didn't.
Oh no.
He didn't even force the smite.
Oh wow.
So Jarvan just taking that blue. All right. But he's going to be safe there. Aurelia still in the bottom lane trying to get farmed up. Goes with the Cutlass, which is going to be interesting. I don't know if he's going to do the Blade or the Rune King. Or?
I think so. I think so.
Yeah.
Because remember, you're going up against a Shen and a Nocturne who already have a Sunfire Cape each. You're looking at an FXO that will be very tanky. So one of the best offensive items I think you can build at this point is Blade.
I've never seen a build like this before, though, and
it is different.
I think Blade does magic damage, which gives Aurelia a really nice mix of physical, true, and magic damage, kind of like the old Ionic Spark build that Wicked liked to do on Aurelia. But we'll see if they force this fight here. Cog is way out of position, though. That can make things difficult.
Daydreaming out in the back does get caught, stuns Kale in the back line, but everyone's scattered in 3 separate fights. Aurelia, the first one to go down inside the brush. Jarvan in struggle to get away is Prism, and Atlanta, the clutch ultimate from Kale, keeps him safe, and he can still spit over the wall if he wants to. That is a 2-for-1 in favor of FXO. It is a very weak JRT. He's off pushing the mid lane while the remaining members of his team try and pick up this dragon. Atlanta off on the side. Can he get the steal?
Flash for the kill.
He could. There is the Prism and the damage. Atlanta goes down, but the passive is still procced. Will the explode kill? Yes! Salsa goes down to the exploding bug. Nocturne ult up and ready. Phantom Lord flashes over the wall. JRT still in pursuit. Finds him in the brush. Ignite helps take him down. And wow, wonderful, wonderful for FXO. And they can still continue on the dragon.
Yeah, really nice play from FXO there. They won the initial fight. I was surprised that Atlanta and TowerDiveTV decided to go back in. They thought that they had the range advantage, but they didn't take into consideration summoners. So I think they assumed that Ryze's flash was down, and it wasn't. So Ryze was able to get the quick flash for the kill. It almost turned around against them, but even so, with Ezreal there, Ezreal was just way too safe. After Phantom Lord had expended everything trying to take down Ryze, there just was no follow-up.
Yeah.
So we'll see what they can continue to do. It is building into a 4K gold lead, so it's a pretty large lead right now for FXO. But as long as TowerDiveTV continues to split these lanes, that damage could be lessened a little bit. They can still win 3v2s and 3v3s and such.
JRT retreating. Nunu comes in through the lane, tried to do something fancy, but recognizing that tier 1 is low down here in bot, TowerDive decides to just take it, try and recoup some of the gold loss that they incurred during that last skirmish. But right now, though, on the 23rd minute, so yeah, it's about to 4K gold lead here for FXO. And Westrice is still pushing here along in the top lane. He can actually take out this tower, extend the lead even further.
Yeah, he is going to get that tower, and now they have to deal with the split-pushing Shen. They don't have any teleports or any way to deal with it. He's almost too tanky for Phantom Lord to deal with. You see that Phantom Lord does have enough damage to actually take him down, but it's very close to Shen being strong enough where he can just 1v1 anyone in the game right now, and that's going to put a lot of pressure onto TowerDiveTV very, very, very shortly. So that could just completely shut down any pushing opportunities that TowerDive wants, and open up some quick fights for FXO.
Yep, and you also notice too that Shen imminently is about to be getting that Warmogs, has all the items, just needs the money for the recipe, as we see the blues being passed off to each of the respective teams. Master's Tooth built up on the Kale, very great item to have. Hopefully, and we're going to be building a little bit, probably the Haunting Guy is next too, but we'll see. Westrice, he feels there's no other option to escape that situation, so he makes a safe play, teleports to the mid because he knows Kale has no way to interrupt that ult, which is the worst thing of a top laner to have.
He didn't wait. There was no hesitation.
Yeah.
That's the real key. He didn't sit there and try and escape from Kale because he didn't have vision of the rest of the team. So he just made the quick decision. He went, all right, I'll use my ultimate. Assuming that the rest of the team was incoming in, they were. And he's able to back out of there. So, very safe play. His ult is down, so that is kind of an issue. But we'll kind of see how it works out. And we do see JRT, he does have that Iceborne Gauntlet. So just really strong for poke is just an absurd item. It leaves the little circle AoE, which is of a slow, which I just think is just stupid broken. But now he already had the Bloodthirster, and that's the early advantage on Ezreal. That's what's so nice about it, is that you can go into these kind of items that are really strong but aren't necessarily the best for damage, because he knows they actually don't have a lot of HP yet. And because they haven't been itemizing into fast Warmogs or that fast Aegis on TowerDiveTV, he doesn't need to have a lot of damage. So the Iceborne Gauntlet works perfectly for him. He's going to be unkillable, and he's going to be able to wear them down from a distance.
Yep. Working on the 25th minute. FXO they're now starting to put the game plan into effect. Shen's ult may be down, but that is not going to stop him from split pushing there into top lane, try and force everyone from Tower Dive to relocate themselves. And you saw for a second that they were about to, but this is the problem. This is always the problem you have when you have a team that's in the lead and the capabilities of split push, is that it splits your attention and you're just running in circles because you have no idea where to go.
Yeah, and for the next couple of minutes, FXO will be playing kind of defensively until Shen's teleport is up once again. But I wouldn't be that surprised to see them group, once his teleport's up and try and force some objectives. They're in a really great spot right now because they have a very tanky team. Shen and Nocturne are just such powerhouses right now. I mean, we were talking about earlier how FXO might have issues killing the tanks on TowerDiveTV. Well, TowerDiveTV haven't itemized into defense very heavily.
Right.
They have gone for damage. That could be interesting in team fights. They've been pretty effective with kiting in team fights, and if they can do that and then counter out a lot of the damage with Kayle, that could work out for them.
Right.
Having a high damage Aurelia, not usually expected, but if Aurelia dives in and can just be protected by the Kayle ult, then maybe they'll have enough to take down FXO.
Yeah, if Aurelia gets in there, kills either Ezreal or Ryze, that could be a massive turnaround.
Ezreal's going to be tough, but yeah, definitely. I mean, Ryze is #1 target, and if he goes down, that is a one fight for Tower Dive.
Yep. He is a little tanky. He does have the Shroud. He does have that Rod of Ages, which I'm pretty sure is actually, if not full up, nearly full at this point. So he's got a lot of health on him, too. And remember, Ryze, he is deceptively damaging. He even got the home guard boots, too, just in case he needs to get back to work really, really quick. And Westrice now focusing his attention down here into bot lane. Aurelia, if you thought you had a hard time against Ezreal before, wait till you see this Shen. He is way too tanky for you right now.
Yeah, Shen can 1v1 anyone in the game right now, and that's going to put a lot of pressure on TowerDiveTV. They have no way to stop his split push. And you see in this main fight, FXO is at the advantage as well. Atlanta, he got like 3 shots onto JRT, and JRT instantly healed it. I mean, it's just really, he's hardly touching him at all, and they're just poking him down. So Phantom Lord already taking down the half, so a lot of damage. No benefit to that exchange for Tower Dive.
It's a 3-level difference between the ADs. That is huge. Absolutely huge in Atlanta. He needs to catch up. He needs to at least be on the same ground as Ezreal in terms of damage. And as we stated so many times too, in Kog'Maw, we know he's a monster in the late game. Said it before, say it again. If you want to be good in the late game, you have to get there first.
Yeah, and right now, FXO is just using their high base damages, and they're just tanky builds to completely shut down Tower Dive. Tower Dive can't fight them in any of these situations, and it's resulting in a continued farm deficit where Tower Dive, or where FXO can just continue to prevent them from farming. You see, Ezreal already had a really nice advantage over Kog'Maw. Kog is pretty far along in his build, though. He doesn't have a lot of crit. He has some from the Phantom Dancer, but it would be nice to have a little bit more. But there's the engage, that Nocturne Shen combo. Atlanta goes down very quickly.
Tower Dive being Tower Dove, and Atlanta goes down with the quickness. Jarvan off on the side, trying to make the best of the situation. Who is tanking that turret? It's actually Nocturne as he falls back, but he's got plenty of health. He'll be fine, and that is a quick assassination onto the AD carry of Tower Dive.
And they didn't really take any damage doing it.
No.
They dove in, they picked up the kill easily. There was not really anything that say in the matter that TowerDiveTV had. They get the kill, they back off, they grab Dragon, so 7k gold advantage, and then Ezreal coming over the side gets the quick steal on the red buff.
Nice.
So they have the ward there, and JRT just doesn't let him have it. So just a massive lead for FXO right now.
Yeah.
They're looking pretty good. I mean, this game honestly should be under wraps. There are a lot of things that Tower Dive can do if the longer the game holds off and they finally get into some of those defensive items. But right now, it's looking pretty bleak.
Right. If somehow Tower Dive can keep Atlanta safe. I mean, again, whenever there's a Kog'Maw in the game, you start playing protected Kog'Maw. But with a Nocturne and a Shen, you saw the combo. Nocturne hit the ult, Shen instantly starts the ult, starts the process in the works. But if somehow they can protect them, a well-timed Kayle ult to keep them safe just for a few more seconds to try and take down some of the diving members of FXO, there may be a turnaround. The damage is there. They've been building damage this entire time. Use that Blade of the Ruined King, but we'll see what happens in the next fight because this is a 7k lead now for FXO.
One of the concerns right now is 6 months ago, this farmed Kog'Maw. That was a major comeback potential. You could expect that at this point in the game, Kog'Maw is going to just turn it around with your damage output when you have the Infinity Edge at this point in the game. But with the changes, having Bloodthirster, there's not a lot of crit. The gold efficiency of crit items were severely hit. Armor Pen was also hit after the armor changes, and as a result, Cog's not really in a situation where he's going to be able to single-handedly take down some of these members. He's going to really struggle with some of these tankier members.
Also, Phantom Ward actually itemizing into the Leandries, which is actually I don't think I've ever seen. It's been a while since I've seen a lot of. Well, it's been a while since I've seen Kale. Period. So, with all these changes, with all these new items, hey, everything's possible here. Q down onto Nocturne, not going to shield it this time, slowed and taking a lot of harass. And FXO playing defense is like, sure, just come on in, come for our tower. If you get a little bit too rambunctious, we may turn the tides on you. And Phantom Ward, 2 shots from Ezreal brings them down to 2/3.
Yeah, and FXO doesn't need to hard engage. They can just back off, poke with Ezreal with that Iceborne Gauntlet, and just slowly wear down TowerDiveTV. And then, you know, when TowerDiveTV is forced to make an engagement, then they'll have the Shen ult to protect them, and they can turn it around then. But they're just slowly wearing them down right now. Shen's going to be able to make its way down the bottom. They can start putting on that split push pressure and maybe try and force a Baron or force a fight outside of, you know, where TowerDive is going to be in a bad situation.
Yep, Shen ult up, Nocturne ult back up too. So
you do see they are playing pretty defensively though. They know that TowerDive has a decent amount of damage, and they don't want to allow them to pick anyone off.
Right, and they are scared definitely of that late game potential, but that is a quick stun on to the Kog'Maw. Time on the ult from Kale. Atlanta will be safe at least for now, but Phantom Ward taking tons of damage, and Ezreal comes in with the shift for the kill. Kog'Maw goes down. Demacia shouted by Jarvan. 1 Vorpal Blade will finish him off, and that is a 4-kill sweep for nothing for FXO. Can you catch up to the Nunu? Just a little bit too fast. Oh, does get the shot over the wall, slows him, but the tower right now is looking way more juicy.
Well, they took hardly any damage, just how much of a gold lead they have. Kog'Maw barely touched them. No one from TowerDiveTV really touched them at all.
They all focused Nocturne, and he still didn't even die.
Yeah, he really didn't take that much damage at all, and now they're going to be able to make their way in here, take this Baron. You see he's tanky enough that he can even take that Baron for a couple of hits there, and they're going to be able to grab this as well. And this Baron in particular shuts down any hope that TowerDive has of a comeback.
Yeah.
It really would be a monumental throw for FXO to lose this game right now. And with some of the experience they have on their team with Salsei and Westerice, that's not really a throw that I'm going to be expecting.
Yeah, that's the thing though, is that Atlanta and Phantom Ward, at least in the competitive scene, like they're the wild card. Like they show up sometimes on certain teams. You never know what's going to happen with these guys. That's what makes them so great. But this match in particular, though, yeah, things are definitely looking grim.
Yeah, and there were some cool plays from TowerDive. I mean, some of those early fights, they did a really nice job of kiting, and you know, Kale would come in and you know, get some decent damage and be able to help them with those fight slots. So you know, you did see some nice play from like Phantom Lord and some of the team, but it was very difficult. They had some early mistakes, and FXO really just punished them for it. They punished them with their early game advantages and their high base damage team and the items as well. Just getting those really quick tanky champions, it really made it a struggle for TowerDive to take anyone down. And
looks like Ryze did decide to go for the Muramana. So a little bit extra damage and all those single target spells. Does not need the protection at this point. His team's plenty tanky, so he doesn't need the extra AP in that shield right now because he's already got.
Just checking, his mana is actually 3,300.
Yikes.
And Muramana, the percentage is
190. Wow.
3%. So 200 damage is being added to every one of his spells. So if you guys were wondering why Muramana is a cool item on Ryze, every one of his spells gets another 200 damage. And when he's spamming a spell a second, that's a really significant damage increase.
And remember, you pop the ultimate, now everything becomes AoE, which hurts even more. Yeah. So that just adds another problem to the equation. Stun onto Aurelia, letting her know who's currently the boss in the jungle. Phantom Ward trying to defend against this Ezreal, but that Baron buff is just too strong at this moment to just really fight. And Nocturne's going in anyway, sees a lone Kale. Fear waiting for Ryze to come for the Prism. It's playing damage. Ult is up for Kale, but not for very long. Quick kill down bot lane, and FXO continues to push.
Yeah, there's just really a lack of damage.
Wow.
Now, Atlanta almost dropping instantly. Ezreal just has a lot of damage. A Warmog's on Ezreal as well, so going for that. And then actually the Ezreal almost taking down
50
Atlanta.
health.
That was extremely close, but you just see how unkillable they are. And JRT recognizes he doesn't really need much damage right now. Goes with that Warmogs. Now they're pushing 2 lanes at once. Jarvan's forced up top, which means that it's a 2v4 down in the bottom lane. 3v4 now, but they do have the Shen ult still, so there's really no hope of them defending this inhibitor.
In a moment, that tower will be gone. Another stun goes down onto Atlanta, and Tarek just on his own brings the Kog'Maw down to half. Atlanta forced the cleanse, but FXO's push continues on. Aurelia going down. The inhibitor will fall. Shen still pushing into top lane. And that Baron buff still has a good solid minute left on it too, so FXO shows no signs of stopping. Look at that. Atlanta just barely lives with the kill. Oh, one more shot. Ezreal will go down to shutdown. Going to Phantom Ward. Jarvan in a struggle to leave, but no, will not. Shen picking up that kill. He is now in this fight. Rise getting the kill on Nunu, and now this is a 2v4 at their own Nexus. Taunt, Westrice keeping Phantom Ward behind. Atlanta with free shots on the Westrice, but cannot get the kill onto the Shen, and at this point he's just shooting mortar shots from Fountain, and this is not going to be enough.
Yeah, you see he doesn't have enough to take them down. I'm surprised Salse lived, and he can't walk into attack range because he knows they're going to turn around with a stun or something and take him down, trying to get some more shots, but is forced to back off by that Tarek. And with the inhibitor down and the Nexus almost exposed, there's still 1 turret left.
Yeah.
It's going to be pretty easy for FXO to just force this next fight and then try and end the game off of it. That's going to be their primary goal, is to end the game off of this next fight after they go back and buy.
Yep.
But we'll have to see, you know, if TowerDive can make maybe that one last stand. It was actually a decent fight for them. Jarvan got right in the face of Rise, but then Kog, despite how much range Kog has, he actually wasn't able to get deep enough to attack Rise just because the threat of him insta-dying was so great.
Yep. A few seconds shy of 39 minutes is when the Baron will respawn, but if FXO plays their cards right, this game may very well end before that comes up.
There.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to get there either, but we will see. Secure the dragon just in case. You know, just because you're in this grave position, the game is not over yet. They're going for the slow kill. They're going for the guarantee. They're going for the safe bet, which is always the right bet.
Yeah, so we'll see where they end up going. JRT grabs the blue, so that spam ability is huge since he's the main champion that they're using to poke. And then Westrice actually goes down bottom, so they're not planning on grouping up down the bot. They don't want to force a fight and, you know, potentially throw a fight that could stall the game for a number of minutes more. So they're just going to split, and they're going to slowly wear down TowerDive and push in from multiple lanes. And that's probably the safer move. I still feel that they're strong enough that they could just walk in as a team right into this Nexus and take the Nexus, but you know, this is definitely a viable option as well.
Westrice with a taunt, keeping Aurelia behind, brings it down to about half. He's taking free pot shots from Atlanta. Actually brought it down to half himself, with the rest of the team now gathering up in the mid. The mid tier 3 is the next target for FXO as the super minions continue to push down in bot. And look, Tarek is here to join the party in all this pushing as well. Ward over the wall, get a little bit extra vision onto TDTV. And out in front, just whatever poke you can get. So Westrice chasing Aurelia away from the downed inhibitor also.
Yeah, so FXO right now should be able to easily push in on this. They're just slowly poking down. The AoE is actually pretty solid for TowerDive, so they're wearing it down, but JRT's confident enough. He's just going to take some of those tower shots and really taking no damage as a result. But you see Westrice is so deep that he's pressuring the Nexus while his team is splitting. So he's not split pushing a lane, he's split pushing their Nexus. But we'll see if they can force something. Really, it's down to the point where TowerDive is going to be forced to force a bad engage. They need to just dive in and force a fight, but they don't have any chance of winning it. So we'll see if they force that fight or if they just decide to back off and slowly let FXO take their base.
Yep, Nunu trying to make the decision, do I go for the Shen? He's so far in, but every single time that FXO comes in, they have more damage on the tower. Now it finally goes down. Jarvan ults nothing. I think he was ulting Nocturne as he dove in and got nobody in the Cataclysm. There's a lot of damage, though, as Aurelia tries to escape, tries to get back to the Fountain. It's a pure struggle, and that is Ezreal with the double. Atlanta makes it back safe to the Fountain, but there's still a lot of damage. I would not be surprised if FXO can actually take all these guys out in their own Fountain.
Yeah, just barely. I was wondering if JRT actually might go for
Yeah,
it. He was
thinking
pretty
about
close to grabbing a pentakill there. Just string him along, but only gets the double. Forces back Phantom Lord. Matabear going down pretty quickly, and they're
That's
just
it.
diving for kills. They're not even worrying about the Nexus there. The flash Shen taunt, they grab Kog'Maw, and now they can turn their attention back to the Nexus and end this game.
Yep.
GG to FXO. This is just the first match of this group stage, but FXO will be moving into that winner's bracket for the match, whereas Tower Dive is actually going to be going down 1-0, and if they lose their next match, they will be out of this qualifier.
Yeah.
But once again,
Wow.
congratulations to FXO.
And a pause at the last possible second. What BM?
Yeah,
Come on.
I don't know how long they're going to let that go on, but
Oh god, if they just let that thing go on for a full 30 minutes, that'd just be the worst thing ever.
I'll just let it sit there.
Well, I'm curious now. I'm curious to see how long. Okay, whatever.
No, I just
we'll let it go.
But congratulations to FXO. They looked very strong at that stage.
Yeah.
Really high base damage. Salse on Ryze was incredibly powerful.
Oh, yeah.
Curse likes playing a lot of Ryze, so I don't know whether he picked that up from them. Brux was playing Ryze when he was subbing in for Nijaki, so there is that possibility. But we'll continue to see what's going on with FXO in the future. It would be cool to see them emerge as a top amateur team.
It would be, and we were talking about. We were worried. We were concerned about the damage output, but you know what? It was just fine.
Yeah.
Seemed to work out.
Well,
for
they
them.
had an early advantage. We had mentioned that as well. If they could use their early base damages for an early advantage, they could really quickly take over the team or the game, and that's exactly what happened. So really impressive play. Once again, guys, thanks for watching. This is a qualifier for IPL 6. If you want some tickets, go to IGN.com/IPL6. You can buy some tickets there. But that game's over. We're going to go to a quick commercial break, and then when we come back, we'll have another game for you from the CLG Premier Series.